So in this video I'll be teaching you the crocodile stitch. So this is what the stitch looks like, and it looks like all these little scales, whether fish scales, crocodile scales, but I think this is really cool how it looks, so I'm going to teach you guys how to do it. And there are different ways that you can make these, like these are staggered where they lay in between another scale. So I'll also show you or do a video where they're lined up if that's a look that you would prefer too. But this video will be showing you the staggered look. So first you want to start off with whatever yarn and crochet hook that you want. So for this we're going to be doing multiples of 3. So you just chain on 3s until you have the amount that you want. So once you've picked your amount, then we're going to do a double crochet in the third chain from our hook. So we have 1, 2, 3. So just work a double crochet there. And now we're going to begin a repeat of chain 2. Then we're going to skip 2 chains. So we have 1, 2. So in our third chain here, then we're going to do 2 double crochets. So we're going to go in that space and we're going to work a double crochet. And then in that same space, we're going to do another double crochet so that we have 2 coming out of the same space. And then we're going to repeat. So chain 2, skip 2, and in the third one, we're going to do 2 double crochets. And we're going to repeat that all the way across. So once you've completed the row, this is what you should have. So now the next step is to chain 1. And we're not going to be turning our work like you normally would in crocheting. We're actually going to turn it long ways so that we're kind of working the side of our stitches. And how we're going to make our scales is by working on either side of our double crochet. So for the first half we're going to be going in the first loop and working loops here. Then we're going to turn our work this way and work through this loop on this side. It sounds more complicated than it is because it's really pretty easy. So to start our first scale, we're going to work 5 double crochets over this double crochet. So yarn over for our double crochet and go in between our 2 double crochets. Kind of see how that works? So that was 1, and go in between. 2, 3, 4, 5. So now your work will look like this. So we have our 5 double crochets over that first double crochet stitch from our previous row. Then after you complete that, you're going to chain 1. And I find it easiest if then you turn your work this way and kind of pick up that second bar. And we're going to work 5 double crochets through this second bar. So we're just going to repeat as before and go in between, now going over the other double crochet from our previous row. And we're going to work 5 double crochets. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So now we have our first scale done, and this is what it looks like. So now it's time to make our next scale. So now we have another set of double crochets here, which we're going to skip over, and we're going to work in the next set of 2. So you want to always hold your work somewhat sideways like this, and you're going to chain 1 after you finish your scale, skip a set of double crochets and go into the next set, and then I like to fold mine over, it makes it easier, and you're going to work 5 double crochets in this first one. So you go in between your 2 double crochets, and you're going to work 5 double crochets in that space. So once you have your 5, you're going to chain 1, turn your work so that your other bar is facing up, and you're going to work 5 double crochets into that second bar. And now you have your second scale. So now you're just going to repeat that. So you're going to skip the next set of 2 and go into the next set. Chain 1 off your last scale and start your new scale in your next set. So this is what it'll look like when you completed your first row of your scales. So now it's time to set up for our next row. So you're going to begin by chaining 2, and then you're going to work 2 double crochets in the center of your first scale. Then you're going to chain 2, and you're going to work 2 double crochets in between your 2 scales. So right here you're just going to insert, and I just insert into the in-between. You can go through this back loop if you like, but I just do in between the scales where our chain 1 was before. And then you just repeat that across. So then you chain 2, work 2 double crochets in the center of your scale, chain 2, and then work 2 double crochets in between your 2 scales. And you just repeat that till you get to the end of your row. So now your work should look like this. And now it's time to do our second row of scales. So now because we're doing the scales in between the two previous scales, what we're going to start off by is chaining 1. And we're going to skip these 2 and begin our 2 double crochets in this second set. So you're just going to move right on down to this first or the second set of your 2 double crochets from the last row, and in between those you're going to start working your 5 double crochets. So once you have your 5, then you're just going to chain 1, turn your work around, grab the second bar and start working 5 double crochets in there. So now here's your second scale set in between your first 2. So now you're just going to repeat like normal. So you're going to skip the next set of 2 and go into the next one over. Make sure to chain 1 before you begin your 5 double crochets in your 2 double crochet opening. Then when you work your final scale on this row, then you're just going to slip stitch to the top of the chain 2 right here at the edge of your work, because we don't work this set here of double crochets. So we're just going to work slip stitch in the top of our chain 2 from the previous row. So that it keeps our scale down and in place. And then that's how it will look with your second set of scales when they sit in between each other. And then you're just going to repeat. So for this one, you're going to start off by chaining 2. And then you're going to work 2 double crochets right here at the edge of your last scale. So just right here on the lip of your last scale, you're just going to go ahead and work 2 double crochets. And this helps us keep count, because you'll notice that every other row are the same. So here on the bottom we have 5 scales and then we have 4. Then it'd be 5 and 4, 5 and 4. So putting our first set of double crochets right here on the corner will give us another scale, which will take us back to 5. So after you've worked the 2 right here at the edge of your last scale, then you're going to chain 2 and then work 2 double crochets in the center of this scale. Chain 2 and then work 2 double crochets in between these 2 scales. And then just repeat, and then repeat the steps all over again and work your scales for as long as you need them. I really like this. I came across it when I was looking for knitted slippers, and this showed up as one of the pictures, and I had to figure out what this stitch was. So like earlier you saw this set in the blue, But then I also had to see what it looked like when it was tiny. So I took a D or a 3 crochet hook and some fine weight baby yarn. And these scales are so cute because they're so tiny. So if you try this out, definitely try it with small yarn because this is so cute. So I hope you guys like this stitch as much as I do. I think it is super fancy and looks so unique. I can't wait to put it on something. So let me know if you plan on trying this one out too. I would love to see your recreations, and if you've already know this stitch, if you put it on any projects that you've worked. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.